Why do all of this? Why try to build an entrepreneurial ecosystem?
It's the give back mentality. Those 30 chosen ones, they came back and they said, hey, this is really out of this world opportunity for Bulgarian young people. Let's do something and let's multiply this effect. Our main goal is to build the entrepreneurial mindset in those people. So
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to HackCast. This is season 4, and right now we are going to record episode number 10. What does it mean, Ivo?
That should be the last episode for season number 5.
4.
4, yes, 4.
And of course, for season 4, our focus was having guests, and we really liked it. And after several discussions, we decided that this is going to be the focus of HackCast. We're going to continue having guests. We're going to have an infinite next season with guests, and we're going to focus on the topic about running IT businesses, running software businesses with a Balkan flavor. Why the Balkan flavor?
Because that's what we do. We are here on the Balkans, and that's something that we love doing.
Yeah, we're in Bulgaria, in Sofia. Greece is right next to us, for example, if you want to find us on the map. And we are in our recording studio. Where is our recording studio?
In our office, in the Hacksoft office.
Yeah, we have a very special room where we record the HackCast, and not only, we also record other things. And for the final episode of the season, we have a very special guest. Kremena Dervenkova is here with us. Hi, Kremi.
hey everyone.
How are you doing this early Tuesday morning?
Very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for coming. Kremena right now is the CEO of ABLE, which is the Association of Bulgarian Leaders and Entrepreneurs. And we're going to talk about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Bulgaria. This is what we're going to cover. And I believe Kremena is the right person to open this topic and discuss why we have a strong entrepreneurial ecosystem, why I saw a recent article on LinkedIn like last week that on the Balkans, Bulgaria is the most favorable, or like the place where you can build a startup and succeed based on some ranking and some score. So yeah, that's actually good. First time we are first in
something good.
in something good, yeah.
We've been performing well on this stage, so yeah. Good
And
news.
a lot of things to discuss. We're like we have a strong entrepreneur ecosystem for more than 12 years. And also Kremena has a really interesting background. She comes from the hospitality industry and international business and sales and event management and finance and the NGO sector. So plenty of experience, plenty of various experience, which gives a very unique look on life, which is always important. So Kremena, let's start with a couple of words about yourself, and we'll take it from there.
All right. Well, maybe where do I start? I'll tell you a bit about my path and how it led me to the entrepreneurial scene and the NGO sector in general, because I never really intended to develop myself, and I already devoted 7 years of my life to the NGO sector. But yeah, well, shortly, I was born and raised in the small town of Lubimets. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
All right. Then I graduated high school there. I moved to Sofia to study marketing and international business. And while I was in university, I started working for a big international hotel chain.
Hilton?
Yep. Am I allowed to say
We are allowed to
Everything.
say everything that we want.
Nice. And yeah, I worked there for 5 years. I changed departments. I wanted to see the different perspectives of the business. And while I was in the finance department, let's say I wasn't very excited about my job there. So I had the time and capacity to focus on other things that were a big part of my life back then. Some of which were healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, sports, and so on. And while I was preparing my own snack bars and stuff that I like to do with healthy ingredients, I came across a US-based company that offered insect protein bars made with insect powder.
Okay. Insect
And
protein bars. Nice.
yeah. I was really like, after the initial shock, I was really fascinated by the idea of insect being part of our diet. I spent like 2 days reading on the topic and finding out about how incredible insects are in terms of healthy benefits to people, and then also environmentally friendly to how the way they're bred and raised. And really, I instantly decided that I want to be someone in this industry.
All right.
And when I was trying to find different products on the market, I saw that they're outrageously expensive. And I decided that I will be the person to open an edible insect farm
All right.
and offer affordable insect protein for people to try and incorporate in their diet. Nobody has been doing this. The year was 2015. Nobody has been doing this in Europe, and there was a solid reason for this. It was, legally impossible.
All right.
And so, but still, I was determined that I want to open an insect farm, and I had no idea how to go about it. I didn't know what sequence of steps I need to take in order to do it successfully. So I signed up for an entrepreneurship program called Nine Academy. And
All right,
while I was there, I learned about a course in entrepreneurship in the United States called Summer Entrepreneurship Program, SEP. Some people have heard of it. I don't know.
It was very, very popular
It
back
was
then.
very popular back then.
Yeah.
Some people would even sign up for university just to be able to apply.
Yeah.
So I was selected to take part in the SEP program. I traveled to the States. I studied entrepreneurship there in Babson College. It was like pretty fascinating. And when I came back a few months later, I became part of ABLE, the Association of the Bulgarian Leaders and Entrepreneurs.
Yep.
I didn't start as a CEO. I started as a community manager. But since it was still, not possible to open my insect farm, I decided to spend a few years trying to create awareness for people why insects are a good food to consider and why this is the next big thing in food. And so I created some blog posts. I did my Instagram account and posted there. So I really focused some efforts on becoming a known name, someone in the industry, so people would refer to me as the bug girl. I was invited to multiple media to talk about insects and events, and like a lot of places. So
Was it all in Bulgarian or in English?
not
content that you
only mainly in English.
And in English, all right.
Yeah, but mostly Bulgarian media would invite me. But then also UK's based media. We did a short video on how I cook insects for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So
And it was not possible to open a farm because of regulations?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Insects were not allowed for human consumption back then. And still several species are allowed, but if you want to have an insect farm and provide insects for human consumption, it's very difficult to do it. You have first to open the farm and then prove that your insects comply with the regulations and with the standards that they need to be, applicable with.
Yeah.
So it requires a huge investment. And I found out for myself that I won't make a good farmer. Like, I can take care of any other aspect of the business, but farming and the production was not my thing.
And it's okay to import it, but it's really hard to breed it here.
You can import insects from farms that are already authorized to breed insects for human consumption. And there are 4 species of insects, not all kinds of insects.
So crickets?
Crickets, grasshoppers, mealworms, and lesser mealworms, which is a smaller type of mealworm.
All right. And the way that you consume those insects, I can imagine if I have a bowl full of crickets that I'm going to throw them in a pan and like roast them or fry them, and they're going to be crunchy. If you fry something long enough, it's always going to be crunchy. And the worms, how do you consume the worms?
You can roast them in the oven even for 10 minutes, but quickly They're really small and they
All right.
cook very quickly. They're super delicious. You
And
can put
you eat
them.
the whole thing, like the whole cricket, or is with like
Yes.
chopped without because it's
Yeah,
very
but if it's a grasshopper, you need to remove the legs and the wings
the legs and the wings. All right.
because they're bigger. But there are multiple ways of using insects in sweet and and salty.
Yeah.
I used to do actually since at the beginning of my career in the insect industry, I was trying to be a kind of an influencer because I couldn't really do anything more than that. I was at the same time working for ABLE, but then I was appointed an executive director mid 2019. I was still waiting for the regulations to change, but the next thing I started doing was organizing events for several big tech companies where I would make presentations for the employees, sharing about the benefits of eating insects. I would prepare small catering with different bites with insects, like whole insects and powdered insects, so that people could try. And actually, my last event was in February 2020, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So there was no events. I stopped producing insects. And I decided to focus more on ABLE because my responsibility for organization was greater. And so I devoted myself entirely to ABLE. So the insect thing is a bit behind.
But is it still on the table?
Well, to be honest, currently I'm a co-chair of an association that represents insect producers in Bulgaria.
All right.
We have several.
So the regulation now for farming is there, and if I want to open a cricket farm, I can do it.
You can do it, but you can sell your production for animal feed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It requires really very tough regulations if you want to sell it for human consumption. It will take about 2 years for you to get certified and allowed to provide insects for human consumption.
So the barrier is still very high to entry. You need a lot of money.
There are 2 farms in Europe that
2 farms. Oh,
that
wow.
are allowed to sell
It's interesting.
insects for human consumption. But my point here is that I've been chasing my dream. I was super determined that I will go after this crazy thing that nobody was really supporting me about. And although I haven't really made an entrepreneur myself, I haven't really achieved that goal. The chasing itself brought me to places and I met people and my life changed entirely. I've never really imagined that I would be surrounded by the people that I know currently, the people that I work with, the things that I do. And it really, so it definitely worth chasing even crazy ideas.
Oh yeah, and you're in prime position when the regulations turn, and it's more affordable to start breeding,
let's see.
start breeding insects and grinding them to powder.
Or maybe do something else, but still be in the industry because it's too exciting.
Yeah. Well, that's out of curiosity. If we take 100 grams of crickets, how much is the protein there? Like nutritionally speaking.
If we're talking about 100 grams of whole crickets, it's very much relative to the chicken meat.
Okay.
So it's 22 grams. But if they're powdered, we're talking about 60 grams of protein per 100 grams of cricket powder. Nice. And it has all amino acids, the essential amino acids inside, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals.
Yeah, I want to try crickets now.
Oh, you do?
I want to try crickets now.
I can imagine there is
a
black market here for illegally selling bugs to people that want to eat them.
In Bulgaria, I doubt it, but you can order crickets online. Yeah.
The thing is, if someone passes by your black market farm for crickets and see a lot of crickets hopping in there, they will most probably burn down the place or spray it with some poison to kill the crickets.
Yeah, probably.
I think this is what's going to happen here in Bulgaria if someone just stumbles upon a cricket farm. Because it looks... I imagine it can look like really, really strange with a lot of crickets there. And you ended up in ABLE, which I think was formed after a few iterations of... So at least according to my calendar, the Bulgarian entrepreneurial ecosystem, it existed ever since we are a democracy, and we got rid of the communism on paper. And 12 years ago, I think, was when things started kicking into gear and entrepreneurship becoming way more popular in Bulgaria and becoming way more mainstream. Back then, I was in an organization called Start It Smart, although everyone was calling us Start IT Smart, but it's Start It Smart, which was basically a club of young folks, and we were doing a bunch of events and competitions trying to get people to start businesses. And we were working very closely with the funds. Back then they were like Launch Hub and 11, the two funds that started investing in way more companies than what we had back then. And I think 12 years ago, and this was the time when the summer entrepreneurship program became the SEP very popular. And it was like extremely popular because they were covering all or almost all of the expenses for going to the States.
Expenses.
Yeah.
They would even give you pocket money.
So you can imagine everyone flocking in and trying to apply, which I think did a bad thing for the program, because everyone wanted to go to the States more than figure out how to build a company. And I think this laid the foundation, and the event that's still remembered by everyone was the exit of Telerik for more than $200 million, 245, not sure,
Something
like this, which spawned a lot of new companies founded by ex-Telerik folks. Like, for example, Office R&D is such company. We have worked with them. They're one of our clients, and I think this is also the time when ABLE was founded. So can you tell us a little bit more about ABLE, the Association of Bulgarian Leaders and Entrepreneurs?
Yeah, this ambitious name. Like,
Yeah.
it's still curious to me.
It's a very good name.
Thank you. It is, like, the abbreviation is really,
Very
we
good.
use it a lot. We have like different types of events. Like, we have the Enable format, which is a type of a skill sharing event. Then we have the Sportable Facebook group, where we organize groups for different sports, and we do sports together and stuff. Well, actually, ABLE is 13 years old already, almost. Will be 13 this year. So yeah, we were there already at the inception of the ecosystem. So the organization was started by alumni of the first cohort that went to the States, this SEP program that you told about. I was part of the last cohort, 2016. But then the first cohort, they founded ABLE. And then every group that would come back from the States every summer would join ABLE. And this is how the community grew. So when I joined, we were 200 people. Right now, we're 400. But we'll get to how we grew to 400.
That's the entire alumni network of ABLE.
Well, not really, because we've been organizing a lot of different formats throughout the years. We currently organize many different
So you
programs.
count everything that people participate in ABLE, and we get to 400, because that's a big number for a network.
Not really. There are thousands of people who have gone through our program, but the people who have gone through the summer entrepreneurship program, and when it was terminated, we created an analog of this program in Bulgaria called ABLE Activator. And then the alumni of the ABLE Activator became part of ABLE. So ABLE is consisted of alumni of those two programs. Actually, it's a bit more complicated because it was not just the SEP program. There was the big program called Bulgarian Young Leaders Program, and SEP was part of it. So there were other programs under the Bulgarian Young Leaders Program.
Okay,
Yeah.
the BILP one.
Yes, exactly.
I remember it.
So yeah, I'm not sure if it's worth going into so much details, but Yeah, back then ABLE was entirely a volunteer organization, so they've organized. I haven't been part of this part of the development of ABLE, the entirely volunteer one. So the people back then, they organized many different types of initiatives like startup competitions, startup awards, leadership conferences, all kinds of educational programs. Actually, the first and biggest project of ABLE was started 10 years ago, ABLE Mentor, and it's still up and running. It's very popular. It's still the first and still only program for one-on-one mentorship for high school students, 10 and 11 graders.
Nice.
And we've been part of the ecosystem, an active one, trying to nurture entrepreneurship skills, leadership skills, and this has been our focus ever since.
And this leads me to my first question for when I was in Start It Smart, the question I was asked most often was, why are you all doing this? Because it was all like we were doing it in our free time. We were earning no money, and we had like zero business experience back then. We were all young, out of university guys and girls. And the question is, why? Why do all of this? Why try to build an entrepreneurial ecosystem? And this is my question to you. Why?
Well, it's the give back mentality that we've all been instilled with while participating in an entrepreneurship program. And it was the same case with those 30 people, the first group that 2011, they went to the States. It's a very rare opportunity. So a lot of people applied. And those 30 chosen ones, they came back and they said, hey, this is really out of this world opportunity for Bulgarian young people. Let's do something. Let's multiply this effect. Let's empower young people with leadership skills, and let's see how this goes, because really this was something back then. It was something that not that many organizations have been doing. And actually, it proved to be very successful. The ABLE network grew steadily. We positioned ourselves very quickly within the ecosystem, since it was very small back then, and since we have been a very active part of it for such a long time. Now we have a professional team. We're fundraising. We have budgets that allow us to have a full-time employees to run the programs, but we also work with tens of volunteers that help us. And those are people that have seen the transformational effect of our programs, that they want to give back. They want to help us organize the next programs and help the next generation of participants, because we cannot really do it ourselves, because we're a small team after all.
Yeah. So I'm going to play like the cynic here, because I was asked all those questions quite often back in the days, and some are quite valid questions. What's the output if I go through such a program? Am I going to have like a multi-million-dollar company?
Sure.
Like this is what people are asking. Hey, so if I am to become an entrepreneur, what can guarantee me that I'm going to have like a multi-million-dollar company, or land a VC funding so I can have money and spend all those money on something that I like?
Wow, what was happening back in the days? I wasn't really part of the ecosystem before 2017.
Well, entrepreneurship was quite new, and the thing was it was always attached to VC.
Okay.
Like this was also one of my biggest problems back then, that entrepreneurship was equated to venture capital and venture capital funding. And that's why I wanted to ask, for example, how do you define entrepreneurship? What is entrepreneurship for you? Is it 100% necessity to build something and raise VC money, or is it something else?
Well, I do like the broader definition of entrepreneurship. I wouldn't really narrow it down to raising VC money. Like, if you were creating value for your target customers, if you have a product or service that meets a market demand, like this is what I would call entrepreneurship. it doesn't necessarily have to be. But then you also, have the traditional entrepreneurs, the people from the real economy that have a hair salon, a bakery, or jewelry shop, or whatever. And then you have the startup entrepreneurs that build innovative products that are able to scale internationally to, they would need the VC money, external funding. They would be able to generate big profits. And this is different. But then all of those two groups are entrepreneurs, all valid.
Yeah, I think that's quite important. I'm not really following all the things that Able is doing. I'm catching some glimpses on social media, but for me, defining entrepreneurship is really important to distinguish it from just doing startups and chasing VC money, but rather because this is what I believe it is, being proactive and actually taking steps into a direction that you want to explore. Because for me, social media influencers are also entrepreneurs. For example, they're quite proactive. They're taking steps and they're leveraging the market to their benefit, and growing an audience. What we did back then with our courses, it was like a crazy idea, not a good business model. Still something that we wanted to do. And this is what I wanted to ask: what kind of people do you want to attract in ABLE through the various programs? I know you have this SEP. ABLE Activator is the equivalent of SEP. So do you want to attract people who want to build startups, or do you want to attract people that are working a good and steady job but want to broaden their horizons?
Both. And we do accept both kind of participants in the program, because our main goal is to build the entrepreneurial mindset in those people. So whether you decide to be an entrepreneur and chase a market opportunity and build a company, or you want to create value within your own company and be proactive and be entrepreneurial inside the company, for us, it's both are great results, and this is what we're after. We want to teach people how to notice opportunities, how to evaluate which of them are worth chasing. How do you measure the possibility of success of something? What is the easiest way to validate if something is going to work or not? How do you attract your customers? How do you sell your ideas? These are very valid skills that you can use anywhere. And this is something that we want to focus on.
So we're not talking about only startups, like technical startups that can scale everywhere, but any kind of starting business.
Yes, and that's why we have different programs for different types of target audiences.
And what Kremena just said, I think it's very important. And if there are people listening to this podcast and considering joining either ABLE or some of the other initiatives that we have here in Bulgaria, and there are quite a lot of them around entrepreneurship as a keyword, for me, at least the messaging for me is very important to say it's not necessarily to build a startup and chase VC money, because this really narrows it down. Like, we're talking about IT companies with like 2 people there chasing VC money and then going to the States afterwards. Entrepreneurship is, for me, it's much broader, and it's a mindset, as Kremena said, that can help you in every aspect of your life. Being proactive, looking for opportunities, building on top of those opportunities, creating good partnerships, building a standard, normal business that can support you and your family. All of this, I think it's extremely important, and at least for me, it's still lacking in communication in the entire Bulgarian entrepreneurial space. Most of it is focused on let's build a $100 million company, which is important. But if you push everyone doing this, I believe a lot of people are going to be disappointed in the end results, because their expectations are going to be quite high.
True that, yeah. Well, Yeah, the topic with expectation is really big because especially with young entrepreneurs, they have their idea and they see how it develops over time in their head, but when they have to do the real work, it's a bit discouraging. Like, oh my God, this will take so long. This would take up so much effort. Oh, I didn't really expect that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to evaluate who are the people that we don't want to we want to predict that they will give up at some point in the process, and that's why so far we've done well. Usually, we accept people who are very determined, and we know that they will be willing to follow all the steps and be there and put in the work, and they know it will be challenging. That's the design of the program as well. It's very intensive, so that it can show you how your life will look like if tomorrow you decide to start a business. You have your regular job, you have your family, your friends. You have to do something on the side before you devote yourself entirely to it. And then your life will look like this. Are you ready to do this or not? Your choice.
Okay, that's really good. And how long is the program?
It's 2 months.
2 months. All right. So can you walk us through some of the challenges that you've seen people struggle with? Like, that no matter how motivated the folks coming in, they're going to struggle at this certain point. I think this is really interesting.
Oh yeah. So in the program we accept 30 people that they don't know each other, but they are expected to form teams, to generate ideas, and go through, all key stages of starting those ideas, like, idea validation, market validation, business modeling, product market fit, value proposition, sales, finances, everything. And there are a lot of different challenges that people face during the program. One very general one is the fact that sometimes they don't really fit well within a team
Okay.
because they don't know each other. We give them 2 weeks. We give them a lot of different exercises and experiences and a lot of time to spend together. The first weekend of the program, we go outside of Sofia for 3 days, 18 hours a day. They have activities, like team building activities, games, so that they can know each other well, learn more about their leadership style, more about how they communicate with each other so that they can form teams effectively. But there's always the people who don't really feel they belong to this team, and they break down at some point. So we've had that, and it's normal, and it's part of life. You can always experience this in real life, but sometimes people invest a lot of effort in their idea, and at some point they see that there's no way this can really make it through because there's a lot of competition, or there's not enough market for the idea, or there's a legal constraint for the idea to be
Cricket farming, for example.
yeah, but I knew this from the beginning, which was easier. But then sometimes you have 3 weeks till the end of the program, and you realize that your idea is like, no.
What is expected of you to show at the end of the program, at the end of the 2 months?
The final demo day, the event where the teams present their ideas, they present generally a very thorough concept of making this idea a reality. So they have identified the market, they've done the pricing, they know their go-to-market strategy. They have a very good concept of what to do. They didn't really have much time to go through all these stages and to, have results. But that's why we decided to start last year a Preaccelator.
All right.
To help teams that have graduated this program, if they want to continue working on their ideas, so they can do this in another program, to help them with mentorship, with tailored workshops, to really bring those ideas to market. Because there are people who, they graduate the program, they want to continue working, but they feel a bit lost. They still need the mentorship. They need someone to hold their hand, maybe not that's not really the term, but they still need some support and guidance. And although we're there as a network to do this informally, we do believe that if we give them the formal structure, this would give them better chances of success.
All right, so I can come in as an individual in the ABLE Activator program, yet I will form a team. Can I come with a pre-formed team?
Not
No,
in the ABLE Activator.
Not in the ABLE Activator.
But you can apply this year for ABLE Preaccelator because we will be
All right.
accepting also teams outside of the ABLE programs. So teams from the
right.
ecosystem can apply too.
And apart from having a team or not, what's the difference between the Preaccelator and the Activator?
The Activator is the first step. It's the very early stage program where you go in as an individual, you learn the basis of starting a business, and then once you have an MVP or a draft of an MVP, you have a formed team, you have a market validation, and you're ready to go into this seriously, then you go into the Preaccelator.
So the way that I'm understanding this is, if I am working somewhere, a full-time job, and I'm feeling kind of okay, but I want to see what this entrepreneurship is all about. I might have an idea, but I want to go through a structured program with a community around me, which for me is the best way moving towards new things. I can apply for ABLE Activator, and my expectations should not be that after 2 months we're going to have a business, but rather my expectation should be that after 2 months I'm going to have a rough idea about all those things that come with building a business, building a startup, or just trying to be more entrepreneurial. So this would be the activator. And then the Preaccelator is, if we already have a team and a company, we can apply, but then I believe it's more focused towards startups.
Yes.
It's more, it has VC backing at the end, or VC presenting at the end.
Yes, they will be presenting in front of VCs, but not necessarily receiving VC money, not maybe at this stage. But they will be in direct contact with VCs, and VCs might be interested in working with those companies because within the ABLE Activator, the projects are very, raw. So no VC attention would really be drawn to those kind of very early projects.
I think we should describe this better. Where do you draw the line of it's more focused around startup? Is it a startup or not? How do you know if your idea is a startup idea or just a normal business that can't really scale as much as a startup?
Well, I'm not sure what would make a difference for you to go after an idea and whether you should define it as a startup or as a normal business. Mm-hmm. We do have programs for both, and if you're wondering whether your idea would be better to work in it on it in the Preaccelator program or some of other programs of ours, one of which is BASE, that I think we're going to talk about as well.
We are.
But then the startup is, there is a slight difference, of course. And it mainly is on the factor that in the startup, something that is central is the technology. Mm-hmm. And if technology is in the center of what you want to do, is it a product or service, then you would be evaluated, you will be reviewed as a startup. Mm. If you have, the potential for growth, for faster growth, then you will be reviewed as a startup. If your technology would require some kind of external funding, it might not necessarily be VC funding, mm-hmm. then you would also be viewed as a startup.
All right.
Because otherwise we're talking about real economy businesses. If you want to, start a small family business or
something like that. So, for example, if we, as Hacksoft, want to apply to the Preaccelator, we actually are not qualified for this because we're not a startup and we're not seeking VC funding. So the Preaccelator is for tech startups that want to learn some more things and be in a better position in front of a VC. And perhaps for our listeners and viewers, the general idea of a venture capital funding, or also called investment, is to have a return on the investment, is to have some kind of a liquidity event, either some other VC later down the road buying you out, or the company making an exit, meaning other company buys you, or making an IPO. I'm not sure if we have a Bulgarian company with... We have Bulgarian companies on the Bulgarian stock exchange for sure, but in the VC world, when someone says IPO, it's the States. It's like the US stock exchanges in various shapes or forms. So for me, how I see it, the very moment you receive VC money, you are on a ticking clock. You either die or you make an exit of some sort. I mean, this the moment you receive VC money. There are cases where your business grows really well and you can buy out the VCs and return some of the investment. But for me, people should be aware that the moment they receive funding, this business has 10 years, a period of roughly, let's say, on average 10 years, in order to grow, raise more series, raise more funding, and then make some kind of an exit. So the VCs can get their return on investment. I think this is really, really important when people are considering whether they should start a company that should be a startup or that should be a real economy business, meaning something quite small in scale that's not going to be interesting for someone to invest in because the return on the investment is not going to be that big. Yeah. And so Activator, I am a person who works somewhere and I just want to expand my entrepreneurial knowledge.
Yes.
Make new connections and see what this is all about. ABLE Preaccelator is about companies that are tech startups looking for VC funding.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but already.
And not necessarily registered companies. You can be, a team of two. You've worked for a few months on an idea. You validated that it has market for it. You have an MVP, some sort of an MVP, maybe a prototype, maybe not ready. But then you want to bring this to market. So you come to us.
Yeah. And then what if we are Hacksoft and we started 10 years ago, let's say. And everything that we've learned from experience. It's entirely funded by, the entire company is funded by the business that we did. Like our initial funding was something of like 2,000 euros.
Something like that.
Something like this to buy chairs and tables for...
some pocket money.
Yeah, some pocket money. And everything that we've earned is based on the work that we did. So if we as Hacksoft feel the need to get some business training, is there something that we can do with ABLE? Is there a program to do with ABLE?
No.
What about the base program?
Well, I want to make something clear before we go with the base program. We have especially focused in the past maybe 5 years, although it's been there forever since ABLE exists. But the past 5 years, we have focused our efforts especially on very early stage entrepreneurship education. So really, what are the first steps for entrepreneurs? If you're interested and you have an idea in mind, you have no idea how to go about it, you come to us. We have ABLE Activator. We have the ABLE Weekend Activator, which is a 2-day. It's a hackathon. It's a weekend program that we do usually outside of Sofia. We do it 3 times a year. And we also have the base program, which is also for people who are just starting out or they have an existing business, but they lack the business knowledge of some aspects of the business. Let's say how to reach more customers, how to retain my customers. Okay, I've done my pricing wrong. How should I do it right? How do I market my product better? I'm really bad with accounting. I need to know more about how it works. It really is a very practical program that teaches you the basics again in business,
All right.
but it's done in Bulgarian while the activator programs are done
In
in
English.
English.
All right.
Then the base program is done in Bulgarian and a very simple Bulgarian, in a very simple way you learn things. So anyone can understand business in the base program.
So if I want to open, let's say, a small restaurant, or I have already opened a small restaurant, but it's not going very well, the base program might be really well suited for me.
Oh yeah.
And I think for me, from everything that ABLE's doing, this is the most valuable, the base program, because the rest is go chase VC money. And again, I am playing a bit of a cynical role here. It's not only that, but the base program can actually help a lot of folks that want to have a business actually learn some of the valuable skills to run a business, because it's quite different from just working a standard job. If you are responsible for the business, then there are other things that you might need to do, and you need to think differently about the business. And I really like the idea of this program, and I'm not really sure how popular it is with people.
Well, it's been started by America for Bulgaria Foundation. It's actually, again, a U.S. program that's been incorporated in Bulgaria by ABF. But then since the end of 2022, we've been given the role of ABF in terms of this program. So we're now coordinating all editions of the program in Bulgaria. It has been organized in 19 cities, towns, villages. It has been organized in a prison. More than 800 people have gone through the program. So a lot of businesses, the success rate of the program is over 60%. So 60% of the people that go through the program, in 1 to 3 years, they still work on their businesses. They still grow. They still hire people. And, having this happening everywhere outside of Sofia makes a huge difference, especially in small towns.
That's why I like this program the most. And it's good that we have one such program. I'm not sure how many other programs like this we have, but for me, if we want to push Bulgaria, relatively small country, 6.5 million population, towards being more business and entrepreneurial oriented, one of the vectors is towards technical startups and technical companies, which we are already doing. But the other vector is just building small family-owned businesses where people care, because I'd much rather go to a restaurant and it's like a small hotel that's run by someone who cares than the big chain where, I know I'll get the consistency in the big chain, but it's not the same.
Absolutely.
So is there anything else rather than the base program in Bulgaria that is doing the same? Any alternatives?
Well, I don't think there's something that is being organized on a regular basis, but rather some ad hoc events and trainings. So we definitely need the base program and similar programs, or if possible, base happening all over Bulgaria. But for this, we need partnering organizations that are willing to put in the work and the time.
Funding.
Yes,
Funding that someone needs to provide without looking for a return on investment, and that's the hard part.
I guess,
That's the hard part. Put in the money in order to build a future that you will most probably not live to see. But that's a different topic. I think this is going to be an interesting question. We said that running a business and building a business requires a different set of skills and different mindset. So, Ivo, let's start with you. If someone comes to you and asks you, "Hey, what's the difference of running a business and just working in a company?" What are you going to say? How would you describe it?
Oh, that's a really long answer.
We have time.
We have time, yeah. There are pros and cons, of course. I will start with putting the additional hours for sure. when we started, we needed to put like 2x the amount of hours we would normally put in a job in order to survive, not to make profit, in order to survive for the first couple of years, right?
So it's not 9 to 5.
If it's not, it's more like
Monday to Friday.
It's more like 9 to 9. It was, which is, I think, a huge stopper for a lot of people, probably. And it really, another really important thing for me is the tolerance you have to getting risk. Back when we started, we were young, we had almost nothing to lose, and we were really friendly to risk. We were totally okay taking different risks. What could possibly go wrong? Well, nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's not for everyone in terms of taking risk and living with the risk, because a lot of people are just stressing out and can't really manage it, which is, again, something really, really different. When it's 9 to 5 job, it is mostly about, getting your job done. When it's like entrepreneurship, it is all the stress that you carry with your day-to-day decisions that you take. What else?
So responsibility. Once you have the team underneath, you have to be responsible for their well-being in all kinds of aspects, whether they feel good at work, whether they're well paid, whether they have clear instructions on how to do the job. So how they make a living. So you need to ensure that they have.
And but this comes after. I mean, at the beginning, you probably don't even have a team for the first couple of time. I don't know. Normally, you start with, I guess, with a friend or someone that's a co-founder, and you just work until you can afford to have a team.
Yeah. But as you said, you need to be risk averse, and you have to be a bit. You have not to care. You don't have to care about what people say if you fail, if you lose the money, if you are onto something and share with everybody, and then you just don't deliver because it didn't work. But that's okay. You have to be okay with this because a lot of people are not.
That's a great insight, and I think this is the very first thing that people learn. Learn for real at a certain point, that in the beginning everyone cares. People say, I don't care what other people think, but in the beginning, unless you put in the hours and go through the motions, everyone cares about the outcome. Everyone wants to be successful and seen as successful. Yet at a certain point, you need to kind of figure out that this is only holding you back, because for me, the biggest difference in 9 to 5 is if you are doing an okay job, income will come. Now, there can be an economic recession like we're having right now, and you might be working for a more capitalist company that is going just to fire you without blinking an eye, but that's part of the world that we're living in right now. Yet, when you are running a business, there's like the outcome is directly correlated to the focused effort that you're putting in. And if you put in a lot of focused effort in the wrong direction, and there's no way of knowing if this is the right or the wrong direction, you might end up 6 months down the road with nothing, or even less than what you started. And you need to rethink your strategy and rethink your next steps. And I think this is can be really frustrating, and can stop a lot of people from doing their own business. And I think this is true for real economy businesses and for startups, where I think startups are more for taking risks. It's easier to take risk with a startup because that's the general idea. If you fail, it's fine. This is the entire structure and framework. You just try something else. But when you are starting a business, and most people attach their self-worth to that business, this can be really, really hard to overcome. Because there are things that are not going to work, there are things that are going to work. And with time, you pile on responsibility. And this responsibility is, you need to learn to live with it. Like, for example, we are still taking risks, but right now, as Hacksoft, we cannot take a huge risk because we're responsible for all the 36 people that are working in this company. And this is our philosophy. You can have a more capitalist philosophy and say they'll find a different job. They're smart, everyone's smart, and just make more reckless moves. But this is up to the founders, and this is up to the company. So it's quite different, and it requires a shift in mindset. And it's not 9 to 5. It's every day, all the time, and there's no work-life balance. I mean, it all blends in one. At least this is how I view it.
Yeah, well, very well said, Rado.
No, just thinking out loud, as they say. All right, and that's why folks. I'm not sure this camera. That's why folks, especially if you are in Bulgaria and you are thinking about starting something, be it startup or a normal business, check what ABLE's doing, because the programs are actually really good. I've had friends, and we've had actually colleagues from the company going through the program, and they had a really, really positive feedback, and it helped them a lot in their journey.
And the best thing about that is that once you go through the ABLE Activator, you join ABLE, which we already said is a community of 400 people that are entrepreneurs, business professionals from all fields of the business. We have really a very various different, super interesting, super ambitious people, forward-thinking doers, people that help out each other a lot on a daily basis.
The community is the hidden gem for me. Yeah.
Yes.
And because at a certain point you kind of realize that you do business by knowing people, and business is done with people, and being in a community where everyone's doing business of different shapes or forms, it helps you with your business as well. So communities are great, and we should be having more communities, and kudos to ABLE for maintaining this for 12 years, you said?
Yeah, almost 13.
Almost 13, and this is not easy. This is not easy to maintain. We tried doing this with Start Smart. I'm not sure it worked. I'm not sure what's happening with it right now, but maintaining this kind of programs and community is hard. So kudos for the efforts.
And I really wish I knew about this like 12 years ago, because I could definitely see how helpful it was going to be for me back when we started.
Yep. Awesome. Should we take a quick break and then carry on with the second half of what we're going to talk about? Because we're going to change the topics a bit.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Taking a quick break.
All right. According to the YouTube analytics, a huge percentage of you are not subscribed to our channel. So if you like our content, please subscribe. We are aiming at 2,500 subscribers, and at the point we reach them, we are going to do a giveaway. We still don't know what we are going to give away, but if you have any good suggestions, please put them in the comments below.
And we're back
from the break.
We are still here with Kremena from ABLE, and so far we're having a really, really good discussion around the Bulgarian entrepreneurial ecosystem, and also what it means to be an entrepreneur, and giving important nuances to those topics. And during the break, we figured out that Ivo and myself, we don't know what lifestyle business means. So, Kremena, can you please enlighten us?
Yeah, well, that means that if your lifestyle is you're a kind of person who likes to be in the nature, or who likes to surf or to ski or whatever, this means that you would go after a business idea that entails opening a ski school and, be out on the slopes in the winter, or open a surf school and be, a surf instructor, or hire surf instructors and be there within in the industry that you're passionate about and that you like to spend more time in, because it really defines your lifestyle. That's what usually a lot of people who likes spending time in nature try to find something that makes money and gets them out in the nature at the same time.
So it's more about doing something not because you see a huge market opportunity, but more like because you're passionate about it.
And you make a living while still exercising your way of living and spending your time the way you like it.
Okay. For example, you like eating bugs and become a guru and influencer about bugs? Or not exactly?
It's rather related to the way I like to spend my time.
Okay.
And where I like to spend my
All
time.
right.
But yeah, if it usually the lifestyle business doesn't have a big potential to go big. It makes a living for me and my family, and that's a characteristic of the lifestyle business. So with the bug thing, it's a big industry, so I would rather classify it as something else.
All right, so we have like lifestyle business, then we have like real life business. That is not necessarily you have the passion there, but for example, the bug things. The bug thing sounds like it also sounds like a lifestyle business because you have a passion for those things, but it also has quite a bit market opportunity, and that's why you want to chase this business. So if you are identifying market opportunities and not necessarily having passion there, you are moving towards doing standard businesses, and then you have the startups, which are high risk, the highest of risk, the highest of rewards, and Rena, yeah, you want to say something?
I think that passion should be present everywhere. Every time you decided a business, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. You're going to spend 10 years on this. You have to be passionate about it. Otherwise, like, how are you going to be successful if you're not willing to, be really spend so much time and so much effort onto something that doesn't excite you?
Yeah, I think most of the people that are chasing after market opportunities are passionate about making money more than the specific market opportunity. But the way I think it is, if you want to invest your own money, it would be best suited to go after some kind of a lifestyle business or real life business where you know the market well. And if you want to chase an idea that sounds promising, yet it's high risk, it's not very wise to invest out of pocket to invest your own money, but rather that's why VCs exist, because they fund you to cover the risk, of course, with the expectations of a higher return.
So then there's something good about VCs, huh?
Oh, there is for sure. There is for sure. I just wanted to give a nuance towards real life businesses and lifestyle businesses, because I feel when we talk about entrepreneurship, everyone's chasing tech startups and VC funding. VC funding is a tool for trying out crazy, wild, and high risk ideas. And it makes sense to invest someone else's money into that with your knowledge and passion, rather than invest your own money and don't know what to do after a year and it all fails. So that's an important distinction to make. So is Hacksoft a lifestyle business, Ivo, or a real life business?
That's a good question. I would say both, because we're really passionate with what we do, but we are definitely treating it as a business, and we're doing it not only because we like it, but at the end of the day, it needs to carry a lot of people with it. So I would say both.
It started
definitely, the academy started as a lifestyle business because we definitely enjoy teaching people how to code, but yeah, now it's both.
I think right now we are looking for market opportunities, and we have become more capitalistic in our nature, like not to the extreme, but we are looking for market opportunities and trying to figure out how to tap into those market opportunities with what we do. And so the Bulgarian IT ecosystem, we had some episodes, we discussed it with Timo, and I think we are touching this topic in every episode especially of the season. The Bulgarian IT and software ecosystem is service oriented, meaning that most of the companies here work as service providers for other companies, for clients. We do have startups that have grown and taken on good investments and are making good business. Some of the startups are even profitable, which is a good thing. And quite often, there's this notion where that people say everyone should be building products. So, Kremena, I would really love to hear your opinion on that.
I don't really like statements like everyone should do whatever. I think there are both product and service companies out there that are big, successful, profitable, and as long as people are happy with what they're doing and they're passionate about starting either of those, then I think that's the main goal, right? Yeah, of course we know that there are differences between those two, and yeah, there are some advantages. I'm not sure if I would call them that. In regards to product companies, and this goes about their potential to somehow leave a lasting impact on a certain industry, but also they have the potential to put a given country, in our case Bulgaria, on the map of innovations worldwide. And that is why everyone is talking about product companies and how we need to focus more on that, because we want to make a statement to the world that there are innovations, big ones, that happen in Bulgaria, and we see the way to accomplish this through more product company, hoping that one or two would really make big names and put us on the map. That is just one thing that I can think of that, yeah, maybe tips the scale, but otherwise I really I wouldn't say I have any preferences on something. And yeah, this is a bit a statement that I wouldn't support the way it is designed.
Yeah, it has this negative connotation around outsourcing is bad. Yet I think what we have right here in our ecosystem is quite healthy, and I really like the balance of you need the service companies because they provide the backing and the support of the entire ecosystem. Like they have stable businesses that employ a lot of people, and they're working with companies from all around the world where you actually gain the knowledge and see how things are done, so you can then apply this in your own either service company or try building a product because you've gained quite a lot of knowledge and experience in a certain area. Then you have successful startups like Telerik that didn't exit and helped spawn a lot of other companies from folks that were working within Telerik. And I think this is the healthy cycle that we need to have. We need to have like 90% or 85% service, and then whenever someone does a good exit, this will spawn even more companies. And I think we are close to this second rotation. If the Telerik exit was the first rotation and 10 years roughly have passed since this, then I think very soon we will have exits from companies that were spawned from the Telerik exit, which will bring even more companies to fruition here in our ecosystem. I think this is quite healthy.
Absolutely, yeah. This will create this ripple effect, and we need to have it, occasionally. And I do believe that we have a pretty good balance, company-wise, within the ecosystem. So I totally agree with what you said.
And we are still a relatively small ecosystem, like 60K people are working, between 60 and 100,000, which is for our country is quite small. We're bringing some 3 to 4% of the GDP or something like that, yeah. Which is actually good, and it creates a lot. I really love the ecosystem because it creates a lot of opportunity here in Bulgaria. Because if we didn't have this ecosystem, things would be rough.
Yeah,
they are still rough, but it creates this island of at least you have the opportunity to start building something. Yet we need other things, but this is for a different time. So, what would you see happening in Bulgaria for the next 10 years?
Oh. How much time do we have?
We have. We can do like a shorter term prediction, or not prediction, but rather this is going to be really good if we have this, and then longer term, like 2 to 3 years, then 5, then 10.
Well, to be honest, if I have to sum it up in one sentence, I would say it would be great if in 10 years we have a happier nation. And of course, to achieve that, there are a lot of things need to be in place. And there are many, but some of them would be definitely the educational system, which need to get more adequate and advanced so that the kids have critical thinking and practical skills. This is super important. This is the basis of everything, of how you will develop as a person and as a professional. And if this doesn't work, then what are we trying to achieve? Like, we're working on a very small scale. The thing is that even ABLE, with our programs, we work on a very small scale. And then, of course, I wouldn't touch upon the healthcare system. I would just mention it. We need working institutions. We need, of course, more companies, successful individuals that have the give back mentality and help organizations like ours and the ecosystem as a whole to develop better, to support the next generation of entrepreneurs. And I do hope that at some point entrepreneurship and innovation would take a central stage and would be recognized as a strategic direction for the development on a country level for Bulgaria, because I don't see this being a priority right now. So yeah, I wouldn't go after that many things, but those I think are essential, at least from my perspective and from being where I am right now.
And ABLE should still be existing in 10 years?
I hope so. Yeah. I do see the growth of ABLE, especially when I became part of the organization. We were 3 people. Now we're a team of 10. We have multiple programs. We create new programs almost every year. And we're trying to cover the whole life cycle of an entrepreneur. So let's see where we will be in 10 years, maybe have a program for scale-ups and be able to support you guys in what you do or in some new endeavor. But yeah, I do believe and I hope that we will have a bigger impact, a nationwide impact, because right now, really, the scale is small. And this is what we can do with the resources that we have currently.
Yeah, but it's important that you're still doing it. And how about the central part of our capital, Sofia? Because to be honest, almost everything is happening here. When we're talking about IT, startups, innovations, things like that. It's not entirely 100%, but almost everything is happening here.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we're trying to address this, but again, more efforts are needed. But I can see, by the way, I've noticed that in the past several months, it's like we've been organizing events outside of Sofia for the past 2 years. Now the Bulgarian Entrepreneurial Organization Association are starting to organize events outside of Sofia. There are other formats that are opening branches outside of Sofia, and this is really needed. Definitely, we cannot really continue concentrating all our efforts in the capital, and we need to move a little bit and to live up other cities around Bulgaria. And definitely, this should be a focused effort of many organizations, many ecosystem players. This has to be a unified approach.
Yeah, but we need to first build our highways to a certain part of the country.
This as well, but I'm sure we'll manage. And yeah,
at a certain point, for sure. Yeah,
hopefully.
Once enough money has been poured in, but that's we are with the Balkan flavor, and I think this is part of almost every Balkan country. I cannot say for every, because, for example, there are some good highways and infrastructure in some of the countries. But a couple of weeks ago, we were driving through Macedonia, North Macedonia right now, and they were also like building a huge highway that's been in construction for the last 10 or more years. Oh, this feels quite familiar. So you're also doing this as well, as we are doing here.
Do you expect a lot more startups in the next couple of years, because successful ones? Because out of the top of my head, I can name like 5 or 6 successful startups right now, big companies that spin off because of Telerik, and the founders had this give back mentality and coach them, invest, and believed in their ideas. And I can pretty confidently bet that in the next 1 or 2 years, some of them are going to exit successfully, and that would lay the foundation of a lot more successful founders that can coach and teach and invest in another round of new startups. Do you think that my prediction is right, or?
I'm absolutely sure this is about to happen. And the thing is that although we're a small ecosystem, I would say we're a relatively mature one already. Mm-hmm. We do have the support organizations like ABLE and many others that provide entrepreneurial education to first-time entrepreneurs. We also have the VC funding landscape with more than 20 VC firms already. We have a lot of ecosystem players that are focused on creating, supporting the existing startups in a way so that they can be successful. There are a lot of big events happening in Sofia that attract international attention. There are a lot of also government agencies and institutions that have paid attention to startup in the recent years. And I think this will really result in a positive effect and more successful entities in Bulgaria, successful entrepreneurs, hopefully better standard of living in the coming years. But this is the long-term goal, of course, but definitely more successful startup. The rate of building and exiting successful startup, I think, will accelerate in the coming years. We have all the prerequisites for this.
That would be great, yeah.
Yeah, this will bring...
And it's been a gradual process. Yeah. It's an effort of everyone from the ecosystem. We're pretty united about how we see things and how we can make things better. What's our role, each and everyone's role in this whole process?
And what about, because you do have experience in the hospitality industry, what about this industry in the next 10 years? Do you have any things that you wish are going to happen, or you think that are going to happen? It's an interesting topic.
I haven't really thought about that, honestly. I shifted away from this industry 8 years ago, and I haven't really thought about it, but something that I pay attention to a lot is whenever I go to a restaurant or to a hotel, the way people treat me is really something that I pay attention to. I think we can all agree about the level of service in some restaurants, especially on the seaside in the summer. Like seasonal workers in the hospitality industry is a big problem. This is something that I'm not sure how can we address this, but definitely more education is needed there, more focus on how do we prepare people for to deliver maybe not 5-star service, but still high quality and follow some standards. But yeah, there are some developments there I can see. A lot of big hotels opened up in Sofia. At the same time, in the countryside, there are small guest houses and alternative places to go for the weekend. And yeah, as you said earlier, Rado, I'm also happy to support the small ones. And I think everyone should really, once you're wondering when to spend the weekend, just look into places where you can support small business owners that own a place and really take care and really have invested themselves into making this place a nice place for visitors.
And have the expectation of them to take a good care of the
Yes.
business end of you, because sometimes it's quite... You don't want to go there again because it's like you're entering someone's house and you're like not a guest but an intruder. How dare you come to my restaurant?
But in the last 8 years, since I haven't been that active in the hospitality industry, I do think that user-generated content and reviews made a big difference and pushed people to raise their standards and the way they operate and treat clients.
And the MasterChef show, I think, made a very, very big impact on all the restaurants, at least in Sofia, because people started expecting and demanding more.
Yeah.
And the markets needed to, restaurants address this. And it's good.
And adjust their prices accordingly.
Yeah. That's also true. Well, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen in the next 10 years, which also brings us to the next topic. Unless AI takes over and we have new robot overlords, but we'll see this for sure in the next 10 years if this is going to happen. So do you use any of the modern AI tools in your day-to-day job? Like ChatGPT and all that things, Midjourney?
I use only ChatGPT.
All right.
I haven't really dig deeper into, but my job really, I don't really have things that I can automate or optimize using AI tools. I really cannot think of such things, but I use ChatGPT. It helps me with brainstorming, and when I'm lazy writing emails in English, I just write some general ideas and it gives me a sophisticated text, which I usually need. So yeah, ChatGPT.
For example,
what I
brainstorming
use.
ideas, any particular use cases or ways that you are using it? And do you use the paid version?
I don't.
The 3.5.
No. I
All
don't
right.
even know the difference between the paid version.
The paid version is slower.
Is it?
But a little smarter.
Way more smarter on paper, but not recently.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, come on. Please rephrase this so it sounds more humane. Like, this is
Shorter,
like-
shorter, please.
Yeah. Well, recently I used it to brainstorm ideas about how should we call the Preaccelator program.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's actually quite smart because
Well-
it can give you good ideas.
It helps me structure long texts as well. Like, how should I go about, I don't know, structuring a pitch deck to attract new board members to our newly formed board, for example. I'm sorry.
And why do you want to rename the Preaccelator? People find it
It
confusing.
doesn't have a name.
Oh, it doesn't have a name.
No, it's ABLE Preaccelator, but I'm thinking of just having a different name because it's ABLE Mentor, ABLE Activator, ABLE Preaccelator. And although it's good to have the name,
There is a pattern.
yeah, I was thinking that maybe we should come up with a cool, catchy name.
So
Let's
the
say.
Preaccelator, it's
didn't
not the name. It's the description of what it is.
Yes,
Okay.
rather a description.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I would be happy if you share with me some ideas on useful AI tools that I might integrate in my
They're all the
day-to-day
same.
job.
They're all the same. They're
I was
all large
thinking-
language models.
I was thinking if I install plugin to my email that helps me generate replies to the emails that I receive, that would help me.
As long as you're
I know
happy
that
that your emails are read by all the guys
Yeah.
in Silicon Valley, then go ahead and do so.
that thing.
We are doing a workshop on how to use modern AI tools for software development, and one of the things that we really focus on is the total lack of any kind of privacy and data privacy. And we have this thing like never paste real things there. Try to describe them, try to rephrase them, because all this data is stored and used, no matter what they say in their terms and conditions. And for me, the future is that we are all going to be running localized versions of the large language models on our laptops and computers and phones. And this way, the data is not going to be leaking to the big tech demigods in
Oh.
Silicon Valley. But that's a different topic. Just keep in mind that everything you put in there goes. It's stored in a database.
Yeah. My husband gave me an advice recently to be kind when I when I ask for things. Always think, always be nice,
Just in case.
Because, yeah,
just in
yes.
case. We don't know what's going to happen. But generally speaking, if it is a large language model behind, it's all the same no matter what you use. Some are better, some are worse for various specific use cases. And then you have the image generation. If you want to generate images, we do this a lot for mostly having fun, and we waste a lot of time. At least I waste a lot of time generating images that I don't use after this. And this is it. This is it for now. So ChatGPT is more than enough. And the way we like finishing our episodes is not with AI, but rather with the human side of things. Because in the age of AI, humans are going to be important, and remaining human is going to be important. So how do you rest and recharge? Because what you do is quite stressful. It involves a lot of things.
a lot of things, and a lot of things break all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I have a rule actually in our family. We do that if we don't have to spend the weekend in Sofia, we go out in the nature. We travel every weekend. We're somewhere close to nature. That's a rule. If we're not obliged to stay for some reason, we travel. But yeah, during the day, I'm very strict with my sleep. I need my 8 hours of sleep. Like, this is mandatory. Otherwise, I don't function well. I can do with 7, but 8 is optimal for me. So I really go after 8 hours. I try to read books. No, I read almost every day. I try to meditate. This is something that I do. I have periods when I meditate almost every day. Sometimes there are periods when I don't meditate for weeks. But usually I try to keep this in my life because it really helps me in situations.
Do you use any of the apps for that?
I use YouTube.
YouTube. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. It's more than enough. It has plenty of stuff and interesting types of meditations find me when algorithms find me, which I like.
Yeah.
I also try to exercise every week. This is also an important part of my life, movement. Yeah. And when I'm super busy, but the type of busy that I'm not, that I forget to eat and to drink water and to do, basic stuff. I have my dog at home, so usually I have to take her out in the morning and then in the afternoon. But when I'm super busy, usually she's the one to take me out on a walk so I can, steam off and we live next to the park, which is helpful as well. So, yeah. This is how I usually
rest and recharge.
Yeah.
Sounds really good, and sounds like you have a good strategy to address all of the stress that's coming from the work that you do.
Well, I do have my must-haves during the day, and then during the weekend, and then during the holiday, which is also related to either, skiing or sailing or kite surfing is something new in my life. So yeah, we don't really go out and just lay on the beach or just sit there. It's very active holidays, all of them still. Let's see.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And we also have a gift for you.
Oh.
For the end of the episode, it's a small gift box with some HackSoft swag, as they say. So here it is. And thank you very much for coming here and talking about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Bulgaria. I believe what you're doing with ABLE is really important, and you should continue doing this. And for the folks that are listening, they should check if they're in Bulgaria. They should check all the different programs and see what's going to work for them and what they want to achieve and what outcome they want to get in the end. And let's see, we are little by little building Bulgaria to be the leading country here in the Balkans when it comes to IT, when it comes to startups, when it comes to software businesses. And it's a group effort, and it's really, really important to have companies like Hacksoft and organizations like ABLE and startups like Office R&D and exits like Telerik. All of this is important, and we should not focus on only on a single thing and expect it to do magic, but rather it's a group and community effort. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me and for giving me this platform to share more about ABLE and some recent developments around us and the ecosystem. And thanks for what you're doing.
And this is it for season number 4, episode 10. Next season, Teddy, it's not going to be a season. We're just going to continue with the focus that we found in season number 4. So everyone, thank you for watching. We would really appreciate it if you write us a comment about what do you think about season 4, or just send us a message on LinkedIn or via email. We check everything, we will reply, and we do take feedback. And actually, HackCast has gotten here thanks to all of your feedback, because we want to do something that's useful for the folks that are watching us or listening to us. So thank you very much, Ivo.
And don't forget to like and subscribe, because it helps us a lot.
Bye.